Okay, I will call the July 9th, 2025 meeting of the Kickapoo Area Board of Education to order, and we will begin with roll call, please, Marla.
Rich James.
Yes.
Peggy McCormick.
Yes.
Bo Schrader.
Yes.
Janet Mathis.
Yes.
Earl Wallace.
Yes.
Isaac Wallace.
Yep.
Scott Walter.
Here, yep. Second up, affirmation of proof of publication of the agenda.
I, Kimberly Johnson, hereby certify that notice of the July 9th, 2025 Kickapoo Area Schools regular school board meeting was caused to be published in the Epitaph News and posted on billboards in the following places on 7/1, 7/3, and 7/7 of 2025. The Kickapoo K-12 school building, Citizens First Bank of Viola, Viola Post Office, and our school website.
And no offense to Aaron, Kim, but I really appreciate hearing you read that again. Third up, I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I so move. Second.
Motion by Earl, second by Janet to approve. All in favor?
Just, does it have to, the location isn't right?
It does.
It doesn't matter on this? Okay. I just wanted to make sure you were, okay.
Oh, yeah, this says library. Good catch.
Is there a note at the sign at the library that says where the meeting was moved to? Not to object, but
Yeah, we should.
there have been districts that ended up in court because of that.
You can catch him.
We don't have any on the agenda.
I was gonna catch him at the door. I did look.
Be nice to correct that for next time, but.
Yeah, I'll fix it on the minutes.
So any other comments, edits, changes? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Audience to visitors and board members. Any visitors tonight, board members? Have any topics they'd like to bring up or comments? Then we move quickly on to expense vouchers and receipts. I'll just jump in. I've got a few things. The first item right away on the P card, the 2100 to Mississippi River Museum. Is
That
that
was a field trip that some of the elementary students went on.
okay?
I can't remember the exact grade level, but yes.
That was everybody. I think that was kindergarten first. You called kindergarten first grade. I think.
Yep.
You were there, weren't you?
Yep.
And how is that?
That parents paid for that and then you wrote,
Oh, that's what I was wondering. Okay.
yeah, that's not just out of school.
Yeah. Under cash receipts, I saw we got our high cost transportation aid,
Came in much higher than I was expecting.
which is wonderful. Yeah, 153,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're very close, which paid for the bus and then a bit.
Yeah.
So it's suggestive to me that continually replacing the oldest or
That helps. It helps. It's a fun surprise because we don't find that out until June 15th. And we find it out in June 15th and it has to be spent by June 30th. So by us buying the bus early, it kind of helps mitigate that hurry up and rush to get something purchased.
next thing I had, and I was in here early, so I heard the Buildings Grounds Transportation Committee talking about this. There was a $7,000 donation for, I assume, the sign out front.
Yes.
Okay, so that's just being held.
There's a separate account where because we've had a few donations for the digital sign, so it's just in a separate account just sitting there.
Okay.
Who was that one from?
Kathy Schlicht.
Do the people that are making these donations, have they been made aware that we have not made a board decision that there's going to be a sign and that
Yeah.
there's funds enough to cover it and that doesn't involve upkeep, but so the people, the donators know this.
Yep, yeah, they know that the board hasn't made
They
any kind of
choose to
decision.
undonate, we would just give them their money back.
Yep.
Okay.
That's all I had. Anybody else?
Well, I had a P card one and mine, it was Lori Kaufman, I think, for Epic Sports. I thought it was Lori Kaufman, maybe it's Yeah, Epic. Yeah, no, that's not- I was on the wrong.
Lori did have one for Epic Sports for $266.79. And that was actually some supplies for the baseball club. Her husband is the baseball coach, so just to help streamline things, she will order things for him from time to time. So that came out of the baseball activity fund.
The other one was Jeremy Lee out there, $810. I assume that's something with the track.
Yep, that was a meal at First State
Where
Track.
does the, who actually pays that?
That comes out of their club account.
That's what I,
Mhm.
their activity fund. thing.
Yep.
The other was just kind of funny and I was curious. Did Heather Martin go on the trip with Megan Schulo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That explains.
And if you're wondering, there was no alcohol on it.
I
Yeah.
doubt if that was the trip, that it was just fine. I just thought, if she didn't go, then I'm curious.
No, Becky and I both looked at that and we're like, it looks awfully suspicious, but no, we have the itemized receipts and there's no alcohol on that one. It was just a meal.
Tipsy Tina's came.
Yeah, that's the one.
Anything else, Janet, or anybody
No,
else?
that's all I have.
Or you wanna move to approve tonight's expense vouchers and receipts?
I can second it.
Motion by Isaac, second by Rich. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. The consent agenda tonight then has minutes from the June 11th regular meeting, the May 14th Buildings and Grounds meeting, the May 14th Policy and Legislative Affairs meeting, and a couple other things, approval by our board of the annual declaration and parent notice of the district's student academic standards effective for the coming school year. And then 2 fundraisers, which are described in your board packet for JV and varsity football. And I think one of them said middle school as well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that was a football one.
Yep, football.
I have a problem with doing this here, but I did want to mention on the fundraisers for football. I have no problem with what they're proposing to do for fundraisers. What I have a bit of an issue with is that for the JV one, for their, what they're gonna spend their money on, whatever, I haven't found it in here yet, but it was something, it included things like shoulder pads. And I can't remember a couple of things that are basic equipment for football. I'd have a problem if we cover high school football, we don't ask them to buy their own shoulder pads. Do we no longer have a rotation set up for these sport things of, uniform replacement and all this? It seems like we're pushing more and more responsibility off on kids to either raise the money or parents to pay for it. And especially when we go down to younger grades and we ask people to pay for things that when you get to varsity, we seem to manage to pay for those. So that's just a comment that I needed to make, so I have no problem with
Yeah, you can double
money,
check
but
on that.
and like the
And I-
t-shirts and they wanna pay for it, that's fine.
Yeah, I know Kent rotates for the
Yeah.
Right.
part, I wonder if it isn't if they wanted to buy their own shoulder pads. Like the junior high kids wanted their bigger ones or nicer ones, cause I know varsity. Like my son Jack did that his senior year, Westby had shoulder pads, but he wanted. So he bought his own, and kids have done that.
The team didn't go out to community and.
Well, they had fundraisers, but
To buy shoulder pads?
yes, he could raise that money, him personally, so if Jack sold enough cards. To make money, like, and it kinda like when band goes is what he did,
Yeah, I don't.
he didn't have to buy it, but that's what they did, I'm not saying that's what we're doing.
No, I think it's
That's what
something
they-
more needs to
I'll
be
double check
thought
with
about.
Ken and Justin, just to make sure that we're not, because we should provide that for
I
sure.
agree.
So I will double check on that.
Cause they're not buying. their own.
No, I know we've got our own, but.
Yep.
Just the wording of it. Alright, I'll double check on that. Don't like that, I wouldn't buy it.
That was my only problem with the consent agenda, so
Yeah, it
it's
brings,
not a problem with the agenda.
no, but it's a good point. What's the line between what the school buys
And
and?
I don't wanna get into a
Yeah,
case
yeah.
where kids who do have the time to work at the fundraising, I mean, I don't know, this, like the Travelers Club trip that's done in the summer and stuff, I guess that's fine, van trips, but I don't know, how far do we go with, you know, you don't get helmets if you don't raise the money, you don't get a decent pair of shoulder pads if you don't raise the money. Yeah, I don't know. But that being said, I have no problem. The money is just, what should they have to use it for?
We're gonna find out right there. So.
Yep, I will check on it, make sure.
The high school one also says new helmets.
I just saw that. High school one, I was more interested in how they were doing it, I thought that was interesting.
I will double check on that too. I think that was just wanting to upgrade some of the things with the helmets so that they were, I don't wanna say better, but I think, but I'll double check on that too.
Helmets get inspected.
And the other thing is, if we raise this money, and this is a co-op team, are the Lafarge people participating in this too, and
I believe
what,
we
I
did.
mean, how do we
Yeah,
separate
usually
that
so.
out? If
Yeah.
the kids don't participate, then do we charge, you know, they have to pay more than a percent or whatever, I don't know.
I'll double check on those two things.
You know, as long as this came up, I noticed they wanna buy Guardian caps, which I think are those
Yes,
big, that are becoming popular, that's a safety thing, right? So that
Right.
maybe is something we
Yeah.
wanna.
yeah, that's, I guess what I was referring to when I said, but I'll double
And
check.
yeah, and at some point, we may have to get to what is the cost of the
Right.
sports, I don't think we, other than now when we get a co-op report. I don't think, and I don't know that that's inclusive, I don't know if we know how much it costs to run some, not that I wanna get rid of anything, but at some point. You know, we at least need to know what they cost.
We could do that too. A budget report on, you probably would have that simply
I
enough
have most of
from,
that even.
I
So
think
we
we're
could do
probably
that in the
pretty
next one.
close on that co-op report, but then there's sports that we don't co-op, so we don't see something like that. So.
alright,
Or, and even like the, maybe where we're at for jersey rotation, those kind of things.
Can't always have a list.
right.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
there used to be an
Yeah.
actually in writing, then once in a while something would happen and they'd have to juggle it around, but at least it was a plan.
So are we trying to have more control over like what they spend their money on, or are we just making sure that we're properly funding the athletic?
Properly
That-
That's what
funding.
it started as, but I think we also need to know as we move forward what we, you know, what we are spending, but I think we're close to that, like I said.
I'm
But
just,
my concern was, yeah, junior high kids shouldn't have to raise money to have shoulder pads, in high school probably shouldn't have to raise money to have safe helmets.
don't disagree with either of those things, I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm afraid that getting into the weeds too much on what someone can spend or someone else
I'm
can't
not saying
spend.
they can or can't.
It's
I'm just
starting to
saying-
get to like,
No, it's just more to see like, what does it cost to run a football team? What does it cost to run a basketball team? What does it, you know what I mean? Like,
well, we get a report, right? that
Well,
tells all-
Only for co-op sports if I.
Oh, just.
Yeah.
So.
But you could easily, I don't know about easily,
yeah,
but you have the format, I
Right.
think would be fine to start with, that same format we use.
Add a
Unless
secondary
there's
account
something
that has
we're
all the
missing.
internal costs of doing that, I mean, it's,
Mhm.
to your point, I mean,
Yeah.
when we're talking about monitoring where our dollars are going, it's probably not a bad idea to understand how much it costs us to run sports.
Or to run other extracurricular activities for that matter, but, you know, and, yeah, it's just one of those things you can't really see when you look at a budget. You know, I mean, you're gonna go through a budget tonight. It's gonna give us a word on whether we're spending more or less on sports and how much percent of our budget we spend in that. area. But my first concern is just these kids shouldn't be raising money for basics of these sports.
All right, did we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Rich, second by Bo to approve tonight's consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to our action agenda, beginning with the preliminary budget. So I guess Allison, you're gonna
Yes,
review
and
this.
these numbers are very similar to what was presented last month, but we have gotten more updates from the state on what's happening with the budget. So some of the things that have changed since I presented last month was, our tax levy amount changed because our equalization aid estimate came in. And this is an estimate, it's based off of budget numbers, not actual numbers, so it's a good number to have, but it's kind of a shot in the dark, like it's not a for sure concrete number. Right now, we are expected to decrease in our equalization aid, but I think about 2/3 of the schools in Wisconsin are projected to decrease in that amount. And we are one of them. So that's changed, which causes our tax amount to change that's going out to the public. The Fund 10 to 27 transfer also changed because we are getting more money from the state for our special education. They increased that from 30% to 42% for this upcoming year. And I say that also with a grain of salt because they say should be 30 now and it should be 42% next year, but it's based on some certain funding, meaning that they predict that to give everyone a 42%, it's gonna cost this amount of dollars, but if it comes in more than that, then it gets prorated down. So I don't think we're gonna get that full 42%. I'm budgeting closer to like a 39% because right now we're supposed to be getting 30, but it's really coming in closer to about 27% reimbursement. So, but even with that 39%, it increased $112,163 from what I presented last month to this month.
I printed off the first thing that was sent.
Yeah,
so I
that
can look
was,
at it.
that was all over the place. That was
Yeah,
an
'cause
old,
that is nowhere near
No.
this.
no,
When
my,
did this show up?
so I noticed it today. I had sent the wrong one
Okay,
to
I
Marla.
haven't had a chance to look then.
Yes, yeah, that one's all wonky. My report pulled funny and then when I was dumping it into my model for this, it got all over the place. So the one in the packet tonight is correct and Marla just sent that out earlier today because I was going through it earlier and I was like, oh, sent the wrong one.
So we will add nothing to the fund balance this year.
These are unaudited numbers right now. So these are all of our original budget numbers.
Okay, so
We're
that's
waiting.
why I have numbers to match it, because I looked
Yeah.
at our original budget.
Mhm.
So how can our unaudited figures? Well, they don't always, it's just coincidence, the first 6 I looked at all matched exactly what you had on the budget and went to the annual meeting. And I'm amazed, I mean, I know you're good, but.
I'm not that good. I'm not gonna
None of
get,
these numbers that
not
are
get
just
all those
exactly
spot
the
on.
same as we saw in an annual meeting budget proposed last year in October. Is that really what's unaudited now? I mean, we've been seeing how much we've spent and stuff and.
so they should be close. And since it's the end of the year, we do have a lot of our numbers in, but we won't know for sure until the auditors come in and kind of look through everything. And that audit is in 2 weeks.
Okay, that was
So-
all my questions, was when were they coming?
Yep, they will be, we've already been in communication with them because we upload a lot of our documents to them prior to them coming on site. But they will be on site and really digging through everything July 21st and 22nd. So right now, it's a lot of just going back through, making sure all of our books look normal. Kind of checking through our budgets to see if what I thought came in and if not, why. Like, are we missing something? Did it get coded to the wrong account? Things like that.
Okay, just a real general question. So 321 minus 112 is what, 209,000
Yes, roughly.
less than state? Where does that fall in here? And does that impact our ability to balance the budget going into the annual meeting?
No, this is presented as a balanced budget, so that's in a couple of different places. So on the first page, that local sources, that first line, 210 taxes, that is going to be that increase in taxes.
Yep.
Our decrease in equalization aid is going to be under other school districts within Wisconsin, 340 payments for services. That's gonna be withheld in there. And then for the Fund 27, that will be on the second page. And it's the Fund 27 going out, or Fund 10 going out to Fund 27 is non-program transactions. It's 410,000 interfund transfers. This year, we're projected at 807,000, almost 808,000 to transfer to Fund 27. With this increase in state aid, it is projected to drop to 777,000. Still a big number, but it's slowly moving in the right direction.
So you're predicting we are gonna get a little more aid,
Yes.
but then if that goes down, you're also making the anticipation that we're not gonna have any more cost in that area.
This is with our current Fund 27 cost, what we know, so the updated salaries kind of what.
Okay, you put in the
Yeah.
updated thing
Yes.
and we know.
Yes.
but-
Updated salaries, I know some of our other costs for Fund 27 is, like our CSIC contract, there's some charges on there. So those are some known costs, because we already signed that contract. The other ones are just estimates, but that's what a lot of this is until we get more concrete numbers as the school year gets going. Yeah, so it shows up there, and then again on Fund 27, there's a 100 transfers in under the revenue, and it matches that $777,785 that was a transfer out in Fund 10. But other than that, this budget is pretty much the exact same as what was presented last month. Nothing else big has changed. It's, yeah, just those couple of funding pieces, and it changes every day. I mean, I think Aaron sent me something this morning that the revenue that we will receive for open enrolled in students is changing. Same with open enrolled out. That's not in this because that was just I was just found out about that this morning. And I don't think it was a huge change, but.
I think it was going up 1,000 for open enrolled in kids.
Yeah,
So basically an additional 1,000 for open enrolled in kids.
For each.
See, we don't get the full amount that we get for a student here when they open enroll in from a public school.
Right.
Going to choice schools too much, but we pay more than we get from the state, than we get for those.
mhm. Yes, but this budget is still, it's always gonna be a work in progress until we get our actual equalization aid numbers in October. I did also estimate what our voucher payment will be. This year it was 92 or 93,000. Those numbers are also going up slightly for those age categories. But I'm still kind of projecting we're gonna have the 8 kids and that could change, because 2 years ago to this past year, it changed. It actually went down. We had 11 and it dropped to 8. So we could be lucky and it drops again, but that's not
And
my
unfortunately, we don't
assumption
get
in
any
this.
data, any information ahead of time to have any idea what that's gonna be.
No, we find that out October 15th and it's just a number. It's not, they don't even break it down between like how many are in K through 8 versus 9 through 12, because they get different funding amounts. We get, here's your total dollar, and I try and back into that number to figure out how many are in each age level.
Can I go back to local taxes? So if you go up from the 1.9 million and you add our 400,000 on, that would only get us to 2.3 something million. So there's 300,000 more local or you're saying that's gonna be we're gonna be raising taxes to get this balanced budget?
Yes.
Do we know that is our revenue limit gonna allow that?
Yes, this is what I did the revenue limit worksheet, and that's all preliminary too, because there's some numbers on there like the vouchers that we don't know. But yes, that's out from the revenue limit worksheet that I have recently done. And that additional 300,000 in tax levy is coming from that $300,000 decrease in equalization aid.
300, oh, okay.
So is that the 325 that was supposed to be that they didn't fund it, so now we can tax?
Mhm.
Yeah, so they're
Yeah.
just shoving that on to us to tax.
Yeah.
Well, they're saying they're gonna give
Yeah,
tax cuts to middle income, whatever here, but yeah, then they force up the property tax at the local.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun game. That's what I'm telling myself. It's, it's a game right
It's a
now.
sad game.
Yeah,
It's
Very
a sad
sad.
game, that's right.
but otherwise, everything is,
When do we get our revenue, actual revenue limit? Because I know so many things we don't know until September, October, but what about the revenue limit? When do they
so
let you know that?
October 15th is when all of the numbers get fully filled in.
Okay, it is
Because,
that then, I was
yeah.
thinking, oh, maybe they can do one thing. in a
No.
timely manner.
no, and that's, I've talked to a lot of people that don't work in school systems, and I've tried to explain like, well, yeah, we go first like over quarter of our operating year without knowing what we're actually getting, and they look at me like I have 3 eyes, and like, yeah, that's school funding for you.
Yeah. And keep in mind, people, that this year we had an extra $400,000 from the referendum. And that's right in that local sources of income taxes, and we're gonna get another 400,000 on top of that this next year. And we need all that to just stay even, and that's hoping that if she's budgeted as good for next year as we did last year.
Yeah, I'm thinking of
That doesn't
schools that
happen
don't,
every
think of the
year.
schools that don't have a recurring referendum. I mean, like
Because
she said, 66% are gonna get less funding this year, so it's not gonna be good.
There's about 160,000 drop in Fund 730, federal source TPI special project grants.
That's
What-
from ESSER.
That's it.
So we had a little bit of ESSER left over that we spent in the first few months of this past year, and that is no more. So yeah, that's that big drop there. And right now, we're still waiting to hear what's gonna happen with federal grant money. The only grant that we've heard any type of inkling on is Title I, which is our biggest grant, but otherwise it's been crickets. Just to see what we're gonna get.
So we have a balanced budget. There's some uncertainty that will be lessened as we get toward October.
Yes, the closer we get to October 15th, the more certain we get, the more accurate numbers that come out.
Yeah. Do you have any concern, given this is a biennial budget? We'll be sitting here next year with revenue sources that are flat. Any,
Yeah, it's gonna be more of a tax burden on our taxpayers is kind of the biggest issue.
But that'll only be if our revenue limit allows us to tax, and if it doesn't,
Mhm.
then it's,
Yeah,
and I expect that at least some of it.
yeah, right now, looking forward, I don't foresee us having to make any big cuts, like I don't foresee us having to cut a teacher or an aide or anything like that. Because of when we did pass the referendum and we did pass it for the right amount so that we can just operate like we have been.
It would. I know we don't have a motivation to do it like when we had the referendum. I assume we haven't done this since then, maybe you have. When is it time to go back to Baird and say, we need to do another projection? We
So-
need to get something down, and, cause this seems like a decent fund balance, but it isn't gonna hold up if we have to start taking a couple hundred thousand out of that every year. 'Cause we
Right.
needed 400,000 more this year, but it looks like we need 400,000 more next year. We'll be okay for these first 4 years as it grows, but then it'll be that set amount all the time. We won't be getting that extra 400,000. So you take 400,000 out of there, that fund balance, we have to keep doing that, and that doesn't go up exponentially. We get this nice straight line.
Yes, so that is something that I actually look at multiple times every year, is what does our Baird model look like for the projection? Right
Okay.
now, it goes out 4 or 5 years, I can't remember. I think 5, yeah.
But you're trained enough now, so you can put your numbers in and you can pretty well, unless something looks really screwy and you have to
Yeah.
call them, you can pretty well.
Yeah, so far, I mean, it's a
Well,
big
don't hesitate
worksheet.
to get them in and, or,
Yes,
bring somebody in if you need some
I've
help.
contacted them multiple times just to kind of check things over. Yes, they probably cringe when they see my emails now, but they come anyways. Yes, right now for that time frame, we still look good. Yes, we aren't gonna be growing our fund balance if we can. Yeah, but right now for the next few years, we're looking good, but that's something that I kind of look at every year.
Up 400.
Yeah.
We get up that 1.6.
Then we're gonna plateau.
That's what we got. That's why people with, even people with recurring referendums have. to
But that's
vote.
also when you have like the retirements and other things come up.
Yeah,
and
you
then-
hope that that helps, and, you know, they had a statement about, we don't have to lay off teachers, that's what we all hope, but our enrollment, you know, depending on what happens and things, we still have to be looking at staff, because that's the biggest chunk of the pie.
Yep. And what years do the two big vets retire?
So,
That's on it.
28. One of them is the year that the referendum stops, that'll help.
let's
Yeah.
I
see.
mean, stop scrolling.
Yes, yes.
Our energy efficiency bond, which is our biggest portion, that will be paid off in 2028, 29, and our pool loan will be paid off in 2027, 28.
Excellent.
So that time is really gonna be.
It's not bad, yeah. Even if there's a year in there, we have to pull out of fund balance, we'd be okay. If we.
And this seems a long way down the road, but a couple years ago, we talked about the end of the Griffin trust disbursements, and we get that $3 million, one lump sum payment in 2035. That's 10 years away, and that's gonna come, we should start thinking about how to turn that into something that provides stable
Yeah.
revenue, so. Cause we're gonna lose $130,000 a year at that point. We're gonna get the balance of that fund, and it'd be nice to replace those
I have a plan for how to make that last. Yeah,
investments.
yeah, we may need some outside help for that, no offense.
Oh, no, for that dollar amount, yes, and actually even now with any of any type of CD investment, anything like that, we have a contact. It's not just myself or Kim or someone going out and looking at the marketplace. It's, we have someone to help with that. Yes, but for that point, I might contact Baird just because they do have a whole division that kind of
Okay.
helps with that, so I'd probably contact them and just have them help us make a plan as
Yeah,
to
we
what's
have-
the best course of action.
The only other part of this, and I brought it up last month, I'm gonna do it again, food service. We also have to plan on apparently transferring, starting again, which we haven't done for quite a few years, but not next year. But it would be very soon if they're gonna keep expending $50,000 or even more this year, $50,000 more than comes in. And that, I mean, I understand they had a little too much amounts, but they're down, what did they go, oh, wait a minute, the numbers have changed, haven't they? That was a big problem, maybe it's not quite so much.
Yes, I think that last month it
Yeah,
may have been
okay.
showing
They're a little
10,000.
better than we showed last month, a lot
Yeah.
better than what these numbers show,
Yeah.
so. But since we do have a new food service director, has it been, I met her at the interview, she seemed very nice, she's very knowledgeable about the food part of it. But she didn't have budget experience and, you know, management type stuff. She does realize that historically, you're expected to live within that budget. But, you know, income, whatever.
Yes, and I haven't sat down with her and gone through the budget, but I can definitely do that and just say this is
You know, that's.
kind of gotta get
I
a
don't know
little
what you guys have
closer.
time for and what, but it's just basically that idea that she does definitely need a handle on where things are going.
Yes,
This looks a lot better than what I saw, so
yeah.
don't scare her away, she seemed to do a very good job.
Yeah.
Any other questions on it?
Hearing none, I guess under the action agenda, I'll entertain a motion to approve the preliminary budget.
I make that motion.
One second.
Motion by Rich, second by Janet. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Next up, on the action agenda, and this is in your packet as well, there's a description of a new special education computer program that Katie nicely described and lauded in that insert. To me, it was pretty straightforward, nice replacement. Any
Is it-
discussion?
We use that at Richmond Center.
What's that, Peggy?
We use seeds at Richmond Center.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
most of the schools in CISA do. Is this a purchase we do on our own, or does CISA
To my knowledge, this is something that we are doing on our own. We're not in any type of consortium with CISA.
It's just, I know most of the schools do, and that's been mentioned down there, but however she's got it set up for now, for next year is fine.
No further discussion. I'll entertain a motion to approve purchase of that computer program.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Bo, second by Earl. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Next up. 25-26 property and liability insurance, and again, there was a summary of that policy in the packet. The only question I had is 4,700 for cyber security issues. Don't we have something in the contract with TC Networks where they guarantee or will pay back or something?
So this goes up and beyond that, like if we do get hacked, they have a team of like lawyers and people that will help us to get that information back and help us so we would never have to pay a ransom. So yes, TC Networks does a phenomenal job and I hope we never have to use it. But if we did, we don't want to have to pay millions of dollars in a ransom just to get our information back. So that's what this cyber policy helps prevent is they would help cover those costs if we were to ever get hacked.
Good enough.
Yeah. Otherwise, I was pretty pleased with how everything came back in. It was an overall increase from 24-25 to 25-26 of $2,186, which is 2.7%.
Yep.
So everything came in at, there's not much I can complain about.
I'm sure we have, but have we ever had a claim based on property damage? Just wondering, I don't remember any.
In my time here, I don't recall any, and granted, it's only been 3 years, but I don't recall
Just wondering.
any
Oh,
property.
we've had insurance claims and things, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure we have.
Yeah.
Okay. No further discussion. Anybody want to make a motion to approve this policy?
I'll make the motion to approve the, say, liability insurance policy.
Wait a second.
Motion by Isaac, second by Rich. All in favor? Outside door replacement. Bids for outside playground door are in the packet. I did not see those.
They just talked about them in the building grounds.
We have a,
Yeah, we got, quality door and hardware was $6,855. And then, across glass was $7,461. The difference was, we were doing some checking on was that across glass specifies 1 inch low E display glass. And quality door and hardware kind of, we're gonna check to see if it's the same as what they're gonna do. And then there's, quality door did have 6 hinges, plus they also had 2 continuous hinge for it, where across glass it's continuous, which for those doors you want continuous, so it's something that's, if it's in the bid, it needs to be taken out for, that aspect of it, but.
So we don't want to approve this tonight. There's more
Well, we need to get it
information.
approved so they can get at it, it's just they're gonna check to see. If it's,
we count, we know which bid we're choosing.
No, I think we're just recommending the approval of that $6,000 bid and just making sure we're validating that it's got the same glazing units. And
Okay.
But if they don't, then we can't move forward. Or if they don't move forward.
Rate contingent upon if they're,
Or can you just approve both bids if the one is not sufficiently good with the other ones? That makes sense, guys?
It's something that's gonna have to get done, get
Well, I don't
scheduled.
wanna wait a month to.
Right.
we
because
can't,
they-
We can't lock the door.
How
And
much?
it's-
Well, I think we do.
It's $500, $550 difference.
Yeah, so why don't we just say we approve $6,500 and whatever makes sense with regards to the,
7,500.
or 7,500, whatever the outcome is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Motion by Rich, anybody second?
I'll second it.
Second by Bo, to approve 7,500-ish.
Yeah, cause that'll cover lacrosses if
If it has.
If
A
quality's
and
ain't
other
got the
roads,
same
typical quality.
apple to apple, so otherwise it'd be a little bit less, that's not too, so.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Good idea, Rich. Then we got a few things under the informational agenda. Public education funding. And Rich put together a nice summary, I think you wanna.
Yeah, and we talked through some of it, I mean, I guess my bottom line is, I've heard people say great compromise and it's good, and in my view, it's not very good at all. I mean, it's, my view, very poor compromise, and I'm not gonna go into the detail, because honestly, I don't understand the detail, but I think they needed to rush the budget through so they could do something with hospitals and general aid and other stuff, and you know, I think they had them over a barrel. I mean, I walked in the parade on the 4th, you know, with, with some people, so I talked to Brad Pfaff, I talked to Tara Johnson, and both of them, best we can do, and I think it's good, and I mean, I was professional, but I was like, sometimes the best isn't good enough, because this is not good. And we can agree to disagree, but you know, just some of the big things we've already talked about, that you know, no new aid for public schools, so that's, you know, this year and next year since buying them, so like Allison said, I mean, the governor signed in whatever that was, 325 a year, so we can levy for that, but that's a cost to our taxpayers, it's not coming from our, you know, from Madison. I think Allison mentioned, and I saw the same thing, that, you know, they're projecting 66% of the districts are gonna have less money this year than they had last year. And I don't know if they took into account, you know, for the same discussion Allison had, that 42% sounds much better than 30%, but again, some certain, if a lot more kids need special education, costs increase, I mean, that finite pool of money is gonna become less.
Just education for new board members. Some certain is never certain. Some certain depends on how much demand there is, and then they split the money up. The other term, which means you will get that amount of money no matter what, is called some sufficient. And I only know one place that is. And, vouchers.
Yeah, and
You would-
and that's in there, yeah, and it's, and you bring up voucher schools, so they increase their per pupil by 174 per pupil,
So we stay here, they were already here, now they
and they
go.
go up higher.
And we
And-
transport their kids, by the way.
I mean, the only, and like I said, I think we gained $100,000, which is good, that's not anything, but it's not what it, anywhere near what it should be, but I think at least the other thing in there that is very good risk reduction is if you spend more than $30,000 on a special needs student, then it's 50% reimbursement of that cost, and next year it'll be 90%, which gets us to the voucher school. So at least that's, you know, because like we've talked, every once in a while you have a student that you're spending, you know, a lot of money on, that we'll get something back for that. So it's a good, you know, risk if a student like that comes into our district, that should help, because we don't have any right now, do we? Or-
We have not claimed any in the past, but I can think of one or two that, because this is all based on last year's expenses, so we did get a new student last year that's in our district, that I think would fall into this, so that will be,
But is that your budget?
that is not,
See,
because
so that would be good, so that would be
Well,
significant.
yes, so I'm hoping to do, because I know I was at a conference and they had a really nice, had a really nice worksheet on how they kind of configured everything. So I'm gonna try and model it after theirs, and and hope that we can.
We can,
get some more.
we can get you some help on getting that filing too. I mean, we need to provide that because I talked to a retired business manager who said a lot of districts never even claim this and people should start doing it, but it's a real pain to claim it.
But it's new,
It isn't
is
so-
this not?
No, it has been around, for quite a while.
It's been around,
Apparently,
but
I
they,
thought it was new too, but it's not.
They
They-
increased the reimbursement.
yes, cause it used to be
Oh,
25%.
Or 26%, so now it's 50% and then 90%.
People maybe will get more motivated to do it, which of course, then again, that's some suspicion, so we may not get that either, but at least we get started on doing it
Mhm.
and, you know.
And
Let's give it just mouth if you need help. If it turns out to be a real pain filing, let's get it done, so.
now that you mention that, that seems, like you said, the game people play is, if the paperwork is really hard, it's like, oh, we'll increase this because no one can do it.
Well, and they only have so much time. I mean,
No,
in
exactly.
small school districts especially where you don't have a whole office staff. You know,
Yep.
business managers, payroll, receivables.
You know, but the only aggravating thing, I mean, really on that first right, I mean, we have at least in February, the estimate was a $4.3 billion surplus, a $1.8 billion rainy day fund. So you think some of that can be applied to schools, but, or at least public schools,
They don't
but,
understand it's raining here.
but it's not. Next chart, I mean, we all saw this, we did the referendum. And we talked 325, and even if they would have given us 325, it's still not enough. I mean, we're this far behind, and even if we'd have got to 325, that wouldn't even have covered the increase in inflation over the year, so, I mean, it's not great. The next slide, I just took a snippet out, I think you must have this, right, Allison, this.
Yes,
Yep,
yep,
so there's a whole, it just came out, I think, July 1st or 2nd, I mean, it just came out, but there's a whole, whole document that has every public school in Wisconsin and if they're projected to, you know, what their projected funding change is or based on this budget. So you can see us, you know, their estimate was we lose 9.8% and, you know, Lafarge a little bit worse, 12.95. And I mean, it's got, you know, Crawford and all our other schools, and these are close, so I just looked at them. Next slide, like I talked about, I mean, there was something with hospitals and they didn't get the budget done, with stuff going on the federal level, they may have lost the window, so. You know, I don't know how important this is, I don't understand it, but it sounds like, and on Friday when I was walking the parade, both Tara and Brad mentioned this, and, you know, again, being professional, I was like, well, I don't care, it does not have anything to do with public schools, but it is what it is right now. And then federal funding for public schools, I mean, I don't know if any of this applies to us, I saw one thing on this, that they're withholding, you know, 72 million federal education funding from Wisconsin, and again, I don't know if any of this applies to us or not, but.
yes, so all of these are our title grants, so that is something that we're working through this year and hoping they can get it figured out, because I saw something that they were just trying to do more research and like investigation on them, so maybe we'll get it back, but not really holding my breath on that.
But I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what would happen, so they say, okay, we're freezing the 72 million, and Wisconsin's not getting any, what would that do to the budget?
That would affect our budget a lot if we
A
didn't
lot.
get any of our grant money, just because,
And we had that somewhere.
It's 13%, isn't it?
Email that
yeah,
said what-
it's quite a
13%
chunk.
of our budget,
Yeah,
or 12, it's
12 or 13, right?
in the top
right
10 in the
there.
state. Or top
Yeah, I guess this says, I guess, over all the schools, 11.5%, so. Yeah, so obviously this is important, hopefully it's not, but that's the bad thing, it's kind of hard to plan when you know what the heck's going on.
Yeah,
And there's probably no logic or rhyme or reason behind. No, freezing it or anything else, or not getting it or changing it. But we'd already talked a lot of this, with just kind of, I think the bottom line is, people are like, oh, great compromise, and, you know, we made some strides for public education, and I don't really. I mean, it's something, but it's not much of anything.
Frustrating, and I'm a little disheartened. The bell, I thought, was ringing pretty loudly in the media and social media about what effects public schools were facing given the state funding issues, and to see it essentially not change much for us. It's a partisan issue, and until things change,
Well, and that's the thing, you don't want
They-
the school board to be partisan, but
yeah,
it's not gonna change unless there's change in
yeah,
Madison, and, you know, if you look at the big picture, I don't understand the hospital thing, but I'm like, this is unacceptable. We're not compromising, not gonna sign the budget. Because now, I mean, in November 26th, it'd be like, hey, we increased special education by 12%. That's all I have to say. What are you talking about? We're not supporting public schools. We increased.
yeah,
When, if you know all the facts behind it, it's,
yeah.
you know, so I think that's the key thing, try to educate people, but, you know, at a certain point, people get sick of hearing about it, even though it's catastrophic for public schools.
Yeah, I mean, continuing to educate will be important, and maybe that's something the Policy and Legislative Affairs Committee continues to think about, but you know, it's pretty clear to me, after having a former Republican legislator at our board meeting late last year, that this is their stance, and data and facts and impacts don't mean anything to them. I don't know if they're movable, no matter how much you educate the public. The only thing that matters to them is the vote.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, that's why you educate the public, so hopefully they don't get the vote, or whoever it is, I mean, I'm not a Democrat, but whoever's elected thinks public education is important, and kids should be funded.
Not to be pessimistic, but I'm kind of getting to that point after having seen this. I was a little more optimistic going into the reconciliation process, but I think public schools, as long as the decision makers are who they are, we're gonna be reacting to bad news.
Well, and there's very few public schools that are such good places we are.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I mean, we have the grant, we got a 4-year referendum passed, I mean, and, you know, like my wife has this, whatever it is, I mean, she has a group, I mean, it's almost 300 people now, public education forum thing, and everybody's like, how in the world did you get that passed?
mhm,
There's no way anybody could get that passed now, so I think, yeah, I mean, there's lots of hard work and everybody in this room and people who aren't here. But we're in not a great spot, but not catastrophic, and these 66% other schools, some of them, what do they do? You
We're
cut
gonna
stuff,
see
you cut teachers, and then what they think about public education comes to pass, that, oh, see, it's not a good school, they're not teaching kids, they don't have this, they don't, so it's, they're trying to make a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So, yeah, I mean, schools are gonna be reactive, and they're gonna be facing cuts and closures, and Elizabeth, our oldest daughter, teaches at Mineral Point, and she said the day after the budget passed, Dodgeville laid off or non-renewed 13 teachers.
Yeah,
They
this wasn't planned that
already
well
done
before that was before school was out. and
Must have been
it was
something they
after
were-
their, after April,
Something they were talking
yeah.
about, but
They had a major overhaul on their board. Too.
there's gonna be anyway, thank you for putting this together.
No problem.
Any other discussion? Let's not, okay.
No discussion, but just a note to Marla, these things from the Building and Grounds Committee and this, they should end up in the board packet.
And honestly, so to be completely honest, like I sent it to the president and the principals, I was just gonna talk it. Just, I sent it to them, just say, hey, here's what I was gonna talk about in case they're like, well, we don't, so I wasn't expecting print out for everybody or to be in the packet, that's why I didn't
Okay,
send it.
well, if you'd rather not, that's fine too, but. I
No,
mean,
that's
Building and Grounds
fine,
in
but-
particular should be in there.
Cause I mean, honestly, if I was gonna send it to the packet and I had one, and since I didn't send it to the packet, I didn't send it out, then I would have, you know, added another thing here, okay, here's a Democrat on the education committee and here's a Republican on the education committee, and had a quote from them too. The quote would have been, look at how, all the wonderful stuff we're doing from public education, but I would have had it on there, so it's fair and
Balanced.
correct.
All right, moving on, schedule of meetings, policy and legislative affairs and negotiations.
We do have another update that was released from Neola. That's one of the items that will have to be discussed eventually, so.
Okay. And we had chatted about every 3 months or 6 months, trying to,
About every, yeah,
Yeah,
six,
there's,
it's been a while. so-
yeah,
well, I mean, can I wait till
Mhm.
August?
yeah, it can wait, just to kind of put it out there that we'll have to have something.
Okay,
Cause I mean, I plan on, taking vacation that week too, to make sure I'm here, so. We could either have a separate meeting that week, or if no one else has grabbed it, we could do it 6 o'clock before the August meeting.
and negotiations,
We need a meeting?
I know it's on the.
There's a couple, what? Hey,
Yeah, nothing.
read much of
we
the summer
approved
coaching
the
or anything, or-
Contracts and
We haven't
everything.
talked about that.
Okay,
So I'm
No.
not sure.
Just Troy's thing,
okay,
but I don't know if
Trevor.
that needs or Trevor's on it.
Yeah, no, that's still the meeting, so we don't have anything. We
No
might
need.
soon, but right now there's,
Well, if the need arises, just get a hold of the committee,
yeah,
just like you've done
Yeah.
before, just send something out, and we'll
yeah,
find a time.
right now, no, but maybe.
Next item, are we done? Committee meetings?
Thanks, so.
Board retreat date, Marla and I chatted on the phone, and I think it's a good idea that we not have a retreat this year. Kim's been dealing with a lot of things. I know the last retreat, she was central to pulling things together and compiling information, so I guess I would recommend, just put it out there to the board that we skip the retreat this year. If we wanna have an informal retreat at Liberty some night, I'm okay with that.
We have them every year anyway. I mean, I remember, did we have one last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I think it was
3 years ago.
Was it 2 years? Yeah. And we had been doing it every couple of years, so it's not,
Yeah,
I think you're right.
so everybody's okay not having one this year. Early literacy plan, this was in the packet. Hope you all had a chance to look at it. And you developed this, any highlights?
We are checking off the boxes that the state of Wisconsin by law is making us check off. And they gave me headings and I filled in things under the headings and then had Kim and Katie read it. Fix my spelling and typos and anything that's in.
Well, it sounds.
Do I think a single parent will ever read this in a million years? Nope, but we will post it on our website where it's supposed to be. Which I need to figure out where that is.
Well, where we have those other standard things, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, given Andy's enthusiastic support of our early literacy plan. Any other discussion?
I appreciate that you spend more time actually doing it and accomplishing it with the kids than.
Well,
Yeah,
I started the plan in August
No, I believe, it.
and there's,
then these kids got in the way.
well, no, but there's a bunch of stuff that you couldn't do until they actually sent stuff like the policy, the promotion policy, and the summer school thing is still in development because they still haven't said exactly what we need to do for summer school, so and they change things along the way. Anyway, we haven't.
last thing on the informational agenda, digital sign, as discussed in the buildings and grounds meeting, an update there. Committee members want to reference your discussion earlier?
The digital sign.
Sure.
I can share the digital sign. This was initiated by, Methodist Church. They really, gave a very nice donation to start the process of getting a digital sign out front, feeling like it would be a really great community communication piece. So we started with that donation, and then other donations have just kind of filtered in, I suppose, kind of a word of mouth. We did bring this to our building and grounds, and at that time, the message was, you know, we don't want to, as a school district, put money into this project. And so we haven't really moved forward with it, but we continued to get donations, so we brought it back. And I think what the understanding is that we can go ahead and present to community members. And they have an opportunity to provide a donation if they feel that this digital sign is something that they would really like to see Kickapoo have. So the school is not funding, but they are open to the community interest. If there's that interest and that's something that they want to do, they're not gonna stand in the way. They're going to accept donations and we can move forward with the digital side. So at this point, we're going to just put it out there as that messaging, I guess.
How close are we with donations? Are we like halfway there? Quarter way
We
there?
have 13,000 left.
Yes, we are over half.
Total cost was like 20,
31.
31.
So I thought we were down.
Any other comments, discussion on that? Thank you, Kim. Then we'll move on to superintendent's report.
Okay, my physical limitations continue to remain a factor, but I do try to stay informed and have attended some different meetings and kept in communication with staff, specifically those sitting here. I think Andy or Aaron and I think Andy is involved as well. You were in the last meeting anyway. I don't know if you were today, but there's a community county-wide collaboration with our Vernon County Task Force. And Brandon, our emergency management, is trying to coordinate safety planning across all county schools, aligning language, protocols, practices. And then this effort reflects kind of a shared mission of our safety for all of our students and staff. So we're kind of involved in working with our local schools and the hospital and everybody in our communities, our larger based community, to provide that safety for students and staff. Continuing to work with Aptigee. Marla and I were on a meeting there learning about improvements on communication platforms and some different strategies so we can really up our ante there with our communication. Getting more information from our insurance with Janice, scheduling her for in-service. She's been sending some updates and then really just trying to spend this time that I have more free to determine the messaging that I can lead to improve the understanding and access to our insurance. Jeff has 2 buses that he has taken to surplus. They were 2017 buses. They're under 100,000 miles, so he thinks he's going to get a decent price. Food service, we had our summer review and there were no findings, so they passed that with flying colors. Planning kind of for priorities for this school year, because I fully intend to be here 100% and not have a year like I did last year. Planning the back to school in service. We are again working with our Vernon County schools, Cashton, Viroqua, Westby, Lafarge, and DeSoto, I think, but bringing in some really high quality speakers, Tom Murray, Tom Thibodeau, and Randy Nelson, so spending a day in Westby with our staff, and then also offering collaboration time with same grade levels or like like content areas. And I think that's all as far as like work that I'm doing. I just kind of wanted to give you an update about kind of where I'm at. Been working with my doctors the whole last week, and this week, today, I finally got my release. I went back to my primary doctor to kind of get an evaluation for them to say, yeah, go ahead and go back to work. And she said that there's like a whole team of doctors that have to collaborate because I have obviously so many things wrong. So they did, and I did get a letter today that states and you know, I was disappointed right away. But I look at it as how I first started walking again. You start small. So I get to come back 2 days for 2 hours. And I have to work from home. But everything is healing and repairing well. And the doctors did release me for that. And they're sending me to a brain trauma clinic in August where I hope they'll get further clearance to say, because I said I really want to be back by the end of August. So they know my goal, and they're gonna work hard with me to make sure that I can be here and that it won't impact my health. They're still at a stage where they question and wonder if, you know, all of my things will come back 100%. But I go to therapy 2 times a week, and I'm killing it. I'm working really hard, and I got some really great feedback today. I got in the pool therapy, which is warm water, and they're giving me, they're just putting me in the pool once a week for 3 weeks because they want me on land a lot more to do more with me. But they want to teach me because they believe that they feel so blessed that I work at a school that has a pool. So that when I do get back, I will be able to continue. I think that's one of the biggest concerns is that once I start working, I will drop off of the therapy that makes me better. So they are giving me exercises and laminated the sheets so that I can come back and I can do therapy here. And although they, you know, she did say, I'm sorry, but it's colder water than the 93 I get to work in now. But things are, you know, basically going really well, and they're taking really good care of me. My therapists are great. So at this point, I have a release that I can come back 2 days for 2 hours. And I'm at home, but I am checking my email, and I'm still working, and I'm going to be very present. I'm going to try to do as much as I can, and I will absolutely, you know, take cues from my body and my health to know when I have to back off. But I go back to the doctor August 1st, and he said that we would revisit. And at that point, I'm pretty sure he's going to say, yes, let's increase your time at work. I know he's going to. So I'm going to continue to increase. They're very positive with me, unless they're just, you know, didn't want my tears. But by the end of August, I will be at least 75%, and then start in September with all the kids and everybody at 100. So that's where I'm going. That's what I'm sticking by. Yeah. So
You look great.
I appreciate honestly all of the support and all like I feel no pressure whatsoever. I just have a lot of guilt, but.
Guilt, I just learned we're having admin meetings in the pool, what could be better than that?
Maybe we should do the negative thing.
Yeah, warm that thing up, we got money in the budget for that, don't we? Break that thing up,
Yeah.
building and grounds can get a hot tub.
So there's kind of my update, I guess.
Well, continued health, keep listening to the doctors, and hope to get you back at 100%, but 75% of Kim is about 120% anybody else I know. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you, and thanks again for everything, and throughout since February 10th. It will be 5 months, but this week, tomorrow. So it's a long haul.
Wow, yeah.
I feel like I'm in a marathon. I guess I just need my little, your glass of water, keep going.
Thank you, Kim.
And thank you for
Yes.
everything you've been doing.
Principal reports, who's first?
You can't wear a Speedo. We're just gonna put that out there right now.
I better go first. I took, after last board meeting, took quite a bit of vacation, which was nice, so, just back to regroup and wrapping up odds and ends and reports and things at the end of the year and planning back to school stuff and things to go kind of at the same time, so, after the building and grounds meeting, I'm gonna meet with Troy here in the next 2 weeks, and we're gonna walk through the whole building, go through everything and really kind of look at what we currently have in there and get some different thoughts from him and things that we can update and try to make that more fluid so that the board can see in the next 5 years what things really look like and dollar amounts and stuff, so we'll be working on that. Test scores, that'll be one really starting to really look at those and analyze those here for the rest of the summer, but we did get our AP scores back on Monday. And we had 70% passing rate on our AP test, so which was pretty awesome. So our goal that we keep for the year is 60%, so 70 was awesome. So the kids did a really good job. Mrs. Olson was really did a great job with them. So it's nice to see that number. We're typically in the 55 to 60 some, but I think 70's been the best we've had in quite a while. So really good. Good numbers.
What do we offer AP?
We've got English, and then we've got, this year was environmental science.
Okay.
So. That's what I have.
Summer school, that's why I wasn't at the thing today with meeting, because I was at lunch. We have 180 kids in the building between pre-K, but they're little, through high school, and if you throw Weagle's, driver's ed, and I think we're probably at almost 210 for summer school, so. In between, getting the schedules and class lists ready for next year, we have para interviews on Thursday the 17th. We had a number of good candidates. We have, if any board members would like to sit in, our personnel committee is unable to be there because one of them is applying or is interviewing, and one of them's wife is, and Bo has to take his test to start his new job. So if anybody would like to drop in, we have a little bit of one is going to be at 8:30 in the morning, so they can go on vacation, and the other ones are going to be later in the afternoon, so they're at 12:31 and 1:30. So it's going to be Aaron and I and Katie and Landon. If a board member would like to come in, you're more than welcome, but
What's the date?
Thursday the 17th.
17th.
Yep. And then, I know it's just trying to get 4 people that could all make it on the same day was actually 8 people, was 9 people. So that, I apologize for in the middle there, but that's
How
okay.
many are you interviewing?
4. We had 6 applicants, we're gonna interview 4. So, and all 4 really good ones, so, and then, I sent out to the staff, if anybody would like to go to Lancaster to meet with them to talk about elementary math, and 7 people have replied that they would like to. And the 22nd in the morning, I'm gonna steal the Suburban from Jeff, he said that was okay, and we're gonna pack them in like sardines, or maybe we'll get a second one. And they actually are doing summer school, so he's got it all set up for us to meet and actually get to watch some stuff, and then he said, we'll feed you, so we're heading down there on the 22nd. And that's all
Where
I
did you
got.
say you were going?
Lancaster.
Oh, good.
Hey, you take your new van, and you can.
Well, I could, yeah, maybe, let's see how many people, right now, we can all fit in the Suburban, I'll have to see how it goes,
I see it down the road at shop every day.
drive by,
Oh, that'll be
the little minibus, the minibus,
The minibus, yeah, the 9 passenger one.
you don't need a CDL for that.
No, you don't. I think isn't that for summer school transportation?
I don't want to pick up the yellow. See, I'm pretty sure of it. 'Cause that's where they turn go.
Yeah, they're
I know where it's going,
still
so.
going. That's all I got.
Any questions for Kim, Aaron, or Andy? Moving on, then, we will convene the closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85. Paragraph 1, Part C, considering employment promotion. compensation or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. And state statute 19.85, paragraph F, and 118.125 to discuss a student disciplinary matter. The purpose, fall sports coaches, superintendent evaluation, and student discipline matter.
I will make a motion to convene closed session.
Who seconded? The motion by Earl, second by Isaac. This will be a roll call vote. Marla?
Peggy McCormick,
Yes.
Bo Schrader.
Yes.
Janet Mathis,
Yes.
Earl Wallace.
Yes.
Isaac Wallace.
Yes.
Rich James,
Yes.
Scott Walter.
Yes. I think coming out of the closed session, I think just one thing to approve, Earl.
You know, we name everyone or just go by the list?
I would just say as
As
presented.
presented to us?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the false sports coaches that was presented to us, which included middle school volleyball head and assistant, high school volleyball head and 2 assistants, middle school football head and assistant, high school head football coach and assistants plus 1 volunteer, middle school cross country, 2 coaches on that, and high school cross country head coach and assistant for the fall sports.
I'll second.
Coach Merrill, second by Isaac. Approve the list of fall coaches as presented. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? One last motion then to come before us.
Second.
Motion by Isaac, second by Janet. Thank you, everybody.
You gotta keep it up.
Yes.
Oh.